Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. Welcome back to another 10 in 2023. This is a reading wrap-up of the last 10 books that I read in 2023. So my format breakdown for these 10 books is that I read 5 ebooks, 4 audiobooks, and 1 physical book. Yes, I know, a physical book. Who is surprised? Everyone. Literally everyone is surprised by that. So just before I get into this, I have to say that the breakdown of the books that I read this month are like normal books, monster romance books, normal books. So if you're not interested in monster romance, you know, there are normal books bookending it. So let's get started. So the first book that I picked up this month was Waylander by David Gemmell. This book is about an assassin who goes on sort of a quest for redemption, and he's very reluctantly a hero. There's also a lot of other things going on, including the siege of a fort that is really just not looking like it's gonna go well for anyone involved. And if you want to know more about this book, then please do see the review that I did for this. I'll link it in the description below. Now, this time rereading it, I absolutely loved it. This is one of my favourite books of all time, and I just found myself really relating to Gellin in this book. Like, that man is tired, and so am I. Unsurprising to anyone, I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Next up we have That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. Now, this book is about a woman who just really wants to live the quiet life. She's not interested in going off to do anything. She's not interested in being a hero. She doesn't want to go on an adventure. And one night she saves a demon and then ends up going on a quest with said demon and ends up doing some other things with said demon. It's very snarky, it's fun. It definitely has some good smut, but it is a little bit fast for my liking. I'm not sure after reading this one if I would continue with this series, but as like a one-off, I enjoyed it. It was good. And yeah, there are different types of demon creatures. There's like werewolves and snake people and dragons. So if you're interested in that, then it's definitely worth picking up. I just didn't love it like I thought I was going to, but I liked it. So I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Next up I picked up Feral Sins by Suzanne Wright. This is a shifter romance book. Pretty much did what it said on the tin. There's a big powerful alpha, finds a lady, they're like, alright, let's hook up because that's good for politics and stuff. Oh god, this is a terrible synopsis, but I read this one and another shifter book and they're kind of blending together in my head and I'm like, So I think I remember it, but also it's a bit blurry. One of the things I do remember from this one is that I'm not a massive fan of when you read a shifter book and they talk about like the person and the wolf as like 2 separate personalities, and they're like, my wolf wouldn't be happy with me if I did this. I just don't know why, but I really hate that. Like, I just stop it, please. But something I did really like about this book is that there is some banter between the main character and like the love interest's bitter old grandma, and I just liked how they sniped at each other. Overall, this was pretty fun and I did actually enjoy the book. It's kind of blending with the other one I read, which is a bit of a shame really, because I think that does this book a disservice. I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. Then next up I read a novella called Feast of the Vampire King by Violet Taylor. This one was pretty violent. I mean, I was expecting like dark vampire romance in short novella form. I was kind of just expecting a bit of vampire smut, but like, wow, it starts off with like a lot of murder, like a lot of people dying. Because in this world, the vampires don't just hunt discriminately, but they receive a sacrifice of like 50 really pretty girls every year. And they're like, oh great, let's have a feast. And by that, they very much go ham on the being paranormal blood-sucking creatures and ripping people all over the place. It's, you know, a time. So the book follows a main character who is sort of one of these 50 sacrifices, and she fights back and ends up sort of spending the night with the Vampire King because he's like, I like you, you did some murder, great. And then instead of, you know, offering to let her live or anything like that, he's like, listen, I could kill you right now, or we could have a lot of sex tonight and then I'll kill you. And she's like, well, you know, I'm gonna die either way, so we might as well have fun beforehand. Although that definition of fun is a very it was a very violent idea of fun. Yeah, but overall it was an interesting time. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. If you're after like a horror dark romance that's only like 56 pages long, try that one. The next two books that I read I'm going to talk about at once because they are part of the same series, and that was The Dragon's Bride and The Kraken's Sacrifice by Katie Robert. Now these are the first Katie Robert books that I have read, and I've got to say I really like Katie Robert's writing. Like, I know when you look at these covers, it's like, what? Catherine, what? Please. Why? But you know, they're really good. They were really well written, smart, and I actually really like the stories behind them. So let's talk about the overall premise of this series, because it is about a bunch of different women who make bargains with bargainer demons, and they end up like in a situation with the rulers of these different kingdoms in a fantasy world for 7 years. And the first book follows the Dragon King, and then the second book follows the Kraken and the ladies that are together with them. I actually thought that The Dragon's Bride was surprisingly sweet. I really didn't expect it to be so sweet, because it does follow a main character who comes from an abusive marriage, and the bargain that she made is like to get out of that and to like finish that relationship. So she has a lot of healing to do, and it's quite respectful in dealing with that trauma. But it was also very, very smutty. I do think that they would be rather messy given the activities that they get up to. My notes literally say they do be sticky all the time. I'm not going to elaborate on it. I think this one definitely made me curious about like the follow-ups and to see what the other rulers of different kingdoms are doing with the women that have been placed with them. So I immediately picked up The Kraken's Sacrifice. Now I will say that I like this one less than I like The Dragon's Bride, and that is simply because I feel like the two main characters have really poor communication. Like, most of the trouble in this book is caused from one person thinking that they're doing something to benefit the other, and just really not being the case at all, but not having the thought to see that that isn't beneficial. Trying to not spoil this one is quite difficult, but I felt like the vibes were off on this one. The smut was still good, but I think when you combine it with bad communication, it is less good and enjoyable overall. It's not miscommunication, it's just bad communication. They're just really, really bad at it. It's like they'll have sex and then they'll just not be near each other for ages, which is just not good for anybody. But in the end, overall, it was cute. And this book and the previous one have a character in there called Romanu, and they are just the best. I just really, really enjoy Romanu's presence, and I want them to be in everything. And I'm definitely going to be reading their solitary book that's in like it's part of this series, but it's also part of another series, but you'll see that in my next wrap-up. I ended up giving The Dragon's Bride 4.5 stars, and I gave The Kraken's Sacrifice 3.5 stars. The next book that I read was the other shifter romance that I previously mentioned, and this one was called Come Here Kitten by Amelia Rose. I definitely picked this one up because of the name, because it did make me do a chuckle, and I don't know, there are some things about this book that I have real problems with. So overall, the story is about a woman shifter who finds out that she's the mate to this man shifter who is big, strong, tough guy, and everybody's afraid of him, and there are other creatures that are like attacking everybody all the time. Anyway, this book is a bit repetitive. A lot of the same things happen over and over again. It's a bit whiny. The main character is, you know, she's whiny. She's got some problems and like fair dues for being whiny about those, but just in general, she's quite whiny. Now, the main problem that I have with this book is that the main male character has dissociative identity disorder, and as I don't have DID myself, I can't really comment on the accuracy of the portrayal, but I don't think it's good. From what I do know about DID, I can't say that this is a very good portrayal, and it kind of feels a bit icky the way that it's done. But I don't want to speak about it too much because obviously I am not an expert on DID, and I do not have DID myself. I can't really recommend this book, to be honest, because I don't think that it's well done. And I also want to say that there is kind of a heal the disabled trope in it, and some ableism that happens aside from talking about the DID content in this book. So I don't love it. I can't really recommend it. I gave this one 2 out of 5 stars because like the overall plot would have been like better if it didn't have like all of that. So then next up, I read Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese, and I have to say that I really enjoyed this book. This is a romance book. It's kind of a play on Much Ado About Nothing, which is a Shakespeare play, and it has 2 main characters who have met and don't particularly like each other. They get set up by their friends in like this weird situation and decide that they're gonna fake date and convince everyone to stop their meddling by dating and having a really awful breakup, even though they're only fake dating. But of course, that's not how it really works, because feelings. The main character in this book is autistic and pansexual, and there's also a lot of other LGBT representation in this. I just absolutely adored this book. Specifically, a lot of the autistic stuff is really great. I'm autistic myself, and I think this book is a really great representation of a woman with autism. Like, it's just a woman who is living her life, which is nice to read about. The main male character also has anxiety, and it's really like debilitating for him in certain instances, so that was really well represented as well. I am an anxiety sufferer also, so it was just coming at me from all sides of like good representation, and I can really recommend this. I think the author is also autistic, and you know, there's a lot of good times here. I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I will say that it dropped a half star because of the end of the book. I just feel like there was like a little bit of drama that didn't need to happen, and for my personal taste I didn't particularly enjoy that because I didn't think it was relevant. But aside from that, I loved this book. There is a line in this book that just made my little autistic heart happy, and it's when the main character tells her love interest that she's autistic, and she says something like, I didn't want you to see me any differently. And he says, it doesn't make me see you differently, it helps me to see you better. Oh, honestly, I can't with how cute that was. It literally made me cry, and I was like, Anyway, this was a great book, and I really honestly recommend this one. The next book that I picked up was Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. This book is set in a world where there are no monsters left. It's kind of like this peaceful society where they managed to get rid of all the monsters, and there was like this war against the monsters, and now there's none left. Until one day a creature crawls out of a painting and says that there is no monster on the loose, and only the main character can help him find it. I can honestly say that this book made me feel so many things. It is raw and it is emotional, and it's just such a good read. It's very short, so I definitely recommend picking this one up. I don't want to talk too much more about the plot because it is sort of a mystery, because you're trying to find out who the monster is as you go along, and I don't really want to spoil anything towards that. So I just want to talk quickly about the representation. There is a trans main character, there are LGBT relationships, selective mutism and signing, as well as disassociation. There is also child abuse present in this book, so if that is going to be a trigger for you, then please bear that in mind. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, and I cannot recommend it enough. It's really such a good book. And the last book I'm going to talk about today is one that I've been putting off reading for ages because I really wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. And I just finally took the plunge because the TV series has just come out. It's Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. My first ever Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I'm almost disappointed in myself for actually enjoying it because I really thought I wasn't going to like it, and I've been putting it off because of that, and then I liked it. So now I'm like, well, that was silly for putting it off. So Daisy Jones and the Six follows a fictional band on their rise to stardom. They're kind of a bit like Fleetwood Mac. There is a lot of explicit drug use, and this is a look back at events that happened when the band were on their highest point in fame. There were definitely sections that made me tear up, which again was surprising to me, and I really liked getting the perspectives of different band members because you can see how they experienced the same event in very different ways, and they had very different recollections of it, so it's actually really interesting to read. I also love Camilla. She's my favourite, and I love her, and please protect her. I've got to say the only thing that I didn't particularly like about this book is the heavy drug use, and I think that's personally because I just don't really like to read about heavy drug use. It's not my favourite thing, and like the after effects of drug use it's not my favourite type of storyline, but that's a me problem rather than a book problem, so it's more of a personal rating that I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Because I think if I enjoyed reading about that a bit more, then I probably would have rated it higher, but just landed on a 4 for me. But I enjoyed it, and so much more than I thought I was going to, so that's a good time. So there we have it. Those are the 10 books I want to talk to you guys about in this video. If you made it this far into the video, which I know might be hard if you didn't really like monster romance books, but please leave me a dragon for, you know, dragons. And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!